It was a quiet evening in a small Massachusetts town. The kind of place where nothing ever seemed out of the ordinary. People knew each other's names, nodded at the grocery store, and felt secure in the idea that tragedies only happened in other places. But behind closed doors, behind glowing phone screens, a story was unfolding that would shake not only the community but the entire nation. Conrad Roy was 18 years old. He was the kind of boy who appeared strong to the outside world, but carried heavy shadows within. He worked with his father. He was good with his hands. He played sports. Yet under that calm surface, he struggled with depression and anxiety, battles that few around him truly understood. Michelle Carter was just 17, a girl from a nearby town who appeared cheerful and outgoing. She was involved in school activities. She seemed supportive, even sweet to those who didn't know her well. But her connection with Conrad went deeper than appearances. They had met a couple of years earlier, and while they didn't see each other often in person, they built a relationship almost entirely through text messages and phone calls. And it was in those digital conversations that the seeds of tragedy were planted. Conrad had confided in Michelle about his mental health struggles, his dark thoughts, and his growing belief that life might not be worth living. He had even spoken about methods he had considered, moments of despair when ending it all felt easier than pushing forward. Most people, upon hearing such confessions, would try to pull a friend back from the edge. Some would offer comfort, encouragement, or at least an ear to listen. But Michelle took another path. At first, her words seemed supportive. She told him he was strong, that he could fight through it, that things would get better. But slowly, her tone began to shift. Instead of pulling him back from the darkness, she began to push him further into it. Her texts changed from concern to persuasion, from gentle suggestions to insistent commands. She asked him why he hadn't done it yet. She told him he would be better off. She told him the people around him would move on, that his pain would finally end if he just took the step. And Conrad, vulnerable and confused, began to listen. On July 13, 2014, Conrad Roy parked his truck in a Kmart parking lot. He had a generator with him, a device that would fill the vehicle with deadly carbon monoxide. Michelle knew what he was doing. She was texting him, calling him, guiding him. At one point, Conrad got out of the truck, overcome with fear and second thoughts. He reached out to Michelle, desperate for a reason to stop. But instead of urging him to live, she told him to get back in. And he did. That night, Conrad Roy's life ended. When the story first broke, the community was in shock. A young man had died, and for many, that was tragedy enough. But soon, text messages between Michelle and Conrad came to light, and what they revealed stunned the nation. Michelle had not just known about Conrad's plan, she had actively encouraged it. She had urged him forward, reassured him that this was the right decision, and pressured him to follow through. The question became unavoidable. Was Michelle Carter responsible for Conrad's death? Some argued yes. They pointed to her texts, her words that pushed a vulnerable young man toward his final moments. They argued that her manipulation was deliberate, cruel, and amounted to manslaughter. After all, words can wound, and in this case, her words had carried Conrad over the edge. Others disagreed. They argued that Michelle hadn't physically been there. She hadn't started the car. She hadn't turned on the generator. She hadn't ended his life with her own hands. They claimed she was a troubled teenager herself, struggling with her own insecurities, perhaps unaware of the gravity of her words. Could someone really be guilty of homicide just for sending texts? The courtroom became the stage for this debate, and the nation watched. The prosecutors laid out Michelle's words in black and white, showing how she had persuaded Conrad, how she had urged him when he hesitated, how she had even admitted later to a friend that she felt responsible because she had told him to get back into the truck. The defense countered that this was not a crime, but a tragedy. Michelle, they argued, was a young girl with her own mental health struggles. Her texts, they said, might have been reckless, even cruel, but they were not the same as pulling a trigger or wielding a knife. She had not caused Conrad's depression, nor had she forced his hand. But the judge saw it differently. Michelle Carter was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. Her sentence was short, just 15 months in jail, but the symbolic weight was enormous. For the first time, a person had been held criminally responsible for another's suicide, not because of physical action, but because of words. And as the news spread, people across the country debated what it all meant. Some saw it as justice for Conrad Roy, a message that manipulation and cruelty can have consequences even if no weapon is drawn. Others saw it as dangerous territory, a precedent that could criminalize speech, even in tragic contexts. But beyond the courtroom, beyond the legal arguments, the case left haunting questions that linger still. How much power do our words truly have? Where does accountability end and personal choice begin? If someone is already standing at the edge, and another pushes them with nothing more than words, who bears the blame when they fall? The story of Michelle Carter and Conrad Roy is not one that offers easy answers. It's not just a legal case. It's a mirror held up to society, reflecting the complicated intersection of mental health, technology, responsibility, and morality. It forces us to look at how vulnerable we all are in the age of constant communication, where a single text can shape the course of a life. And in the end, the question remains the same, the question at the heart of this channel. Was Michelle Carter truly guilty, or was she simply another broken teenager caught in a tragic story too big for her to understand? Guilty or not? For more chilling true crime cases, subscribe to our channel. Guilty or not?